Yeah, you start. It's working.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for coming to our presentation today. As Philip mentioned, I'm Jonathan, and this is my colleague Lorenzo, and we're going to speak a little bit about the market and the regulatory landscape for you all. So, a little bit about us first. We are Tamarind Intelligence, the parent company of e-cig Intelligence and Tobacco Intelligence, and we are an independent data provider in the nicotine and the e-cig industries. And so we have over 10 years in the sector, and we report on over 55 markets, and we do legal, which will be covered by Lorenzo, and we also do some market research, which I will cover. So, with further ado, I'll hand it over to Lorenzo, and he'll take you on to explain the legal side.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lorenzo from Tamarind. I'm a legal senior analyst. And I would like to start the presentation today by presenting a tool that we have been developing for the last year and a half, which is the Policy Radar that allows you to track the regulatory changes in a selected market for nicotine products. We're currently covering more than 150 bills and policies and more than 60 jurisdictions. So as you can see from the maps, the concept of harm reduction has not been embraced globally, and shockingly, out of the 544 stakeholders that we have analyzed, just around 20% are embracing this concept. And interesting, most countries are from the European area, but we expect the regulation to become tougher and tougher in the next 5 years. In this context, the elections plays a crucial factor in the policy shaping. And another section of the policy radar is the election monitoring. And in 2024, there are major elections coming up that can affect the landscape, especially the EU elections. We are likely to see a shift to right-leaning parties. And this is going to be crucial because the next parliament is going to discuss the new TPD, the TPD3. They're gonna review it. In 2024, also, we're going to have the UK election. It's very likely a Labour win. And even though they have a similar stance, a similar approach compared to the current government, it's going to be interesting to see how the next government is going to implement those policies that are currently being discussed, if approved in 2024 and before the elections. And then, of course, we have the US. It's a 50-50 race in this moment. We know Trump's got a milder approach to this product, but the president in the first year of office have for sure more pressing issues than nicotine policies at the moment. So we don't expect changes in the PMTA, in the PMTA process in the first year, and also in other proposals for a change in the policy. So let's go back to the EU. Here I want to show you what the European Commission is working on. The most important pieces of legislation here are the TPD and the Tobacco Excise Directive. This one was expected to be approved this year or last year, but after an impact assessment got leaked in Q4 of 2022, all the activity suffered a huge slowdown. So now we expect the impact assessment to be published this year, and then the possible adoption by the Parliament in 2025 with expected enforcement in 2026 or 2027. We expect that the TED will bring a common tax for new nicotine products. It's not clear yet how this is going to be shaped. And on the other side, of course, we have the revision of the TPD, which is the main piece of legislation for our industries. We expect that a ban on disposables, regulation for nicotine-free product, and also regulation of emerging products such as nicotine pouches or herbal sticks. Now I would like to focus on a specific topic, which are the disposables. We know that at a certain moment they're gonna be banned as we know them now because the battery regulation, the EU battery regulation, has been approved already, and from 2027, portable batteries will need to be end consumers will need to be able to remove portable batteries. So this is a de facto ban on the disposables as we know them now. Surprisingly, many countries in the EU are moving for introducing a national ban, and as you may know, Belgium made history last 2 weeks ago, being the first country to being granted the possibility to introduce such a ban by the European Commission. And France last week also notified a similar bill to the Commission, and also Poland confirmed us that they are working on a bill for a disposables ban. This momentum might create a domino effect on other EU countries, and we expect that national bans might come into force before the EU regulations. As said before, the TPD3 is expected to be approved in 2026 with an expected enforcement in 2027 or 2028. And by December 2030, the Commission will have to assess whether the EU will phase out non-rechargeable batteries, which in our view, it is very, very likely. Staying in the European area, I would like also to talk a bit about the UK, which has always been a leader in the harm reduction approach, but the introduction of all these new proposals in 2024 is changing the landscape, because the UK, of course, is very influential in the worldwide scene, and this might create a domino effect. Interesting, of course, the disposables ban proposed starting 2025, and of course the introduction of tobacco sales, generational tobacco sales ban, and a tax for vapes products. Could be seen as a shift from a harm reduction approach to a more stricter, but some people also see it as a political move, because since the current opposition is very likely to be at the government in the next mandate, so they will have to implement this policy, and we don't know what's going to happen there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the situation evolves in the next months. And I want to close my part for the legal topics with a new product, a new emerging product, which are the herbal heated products. We started covering such products at the beginning of last year, when the EU Commission implemented, as you may know, a flavor ban on heated tobacco products and additional packaging restriction if these products are considered as a smoking product. So we expect new products to be introduced in the market, but as you can see from the map, since the product is quite new, just a few countries are specifically regulating them, but there's a growing interest by other member states to put in place a specific regulation to tackle this product. We expect the TPD3 to regulate this as an emerging product, and a trend that we are seeing among those EU countries that are regulating such product is that they tend to extend the herbal products for smoking framework to this product at the moment, waiting for the implementation of some EU regulations. And I want to close my part of the presentation with my favorite topic, which is taxation. Even though the product is new, is an emerging product, as you can see, European countries already started to tax them, and as you can see from the map, most of the countries that are either specifically taxing or somehow taxing this product are applying the heated tobacco products rates, which can give us a hint of where the the regulation is going at a national level, but also, and more importantly, for the TED review, which is very likely to introduce a category for this product or a catch-all category for new nicotine products. And that's it from the legal side. I'll leave the floor to my colleague, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Lorenzo. So it's really important, we think, to give an overall view of the regulatory landscape because the market is kind of bound by the regulations that are in place. So with Lorenzo's speech on the legal landscape, we're going to take a look now at the market. Looking at the global nicotine products worldwide, we estimate at Tobacco Intelligence that the total value is around 60 US billion. And in 2023, we looked at over 100 million users of these products. And in these products, we're looking at, and you see in the gray, NP for nicotine pouches, HT for heated tobacco, and then also vape. And we break it down by the different regions because we have different product formats in each of the different regions. We also have different growth rates. And so, for example, in the US, or I'm sorry, in North America, we see that the majority of the market is currently in vape, and it has been. But we have this really strong growth from nicotine pouches. That's something that we don't see as much, for example, in APAC, where it's really dominated by heated tobacco. And it's pretty much non-existent in APAC. In Europe, we have, again, this rise of nicotine pouches. They're growing at around 41%. Heated tobacco around 21%, and vapage is 7% in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Latin America is a region that we also have started covering, and as of 2023, it's really small compared to the other regions that we have here. But we also, again, see these double-digit growth figures for heated tobacco as well as vape. So just to highlight one area of the market, as Lorenzo said, we have these looming disposable bans. So if we look at the size of the disposable market compared to the entire vape market, what we see here in North America is it's more than half. So disposables are accounting for more than half of the entire vape market size, and that's way more than any other one. For example, in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, we're looking at around a third of the value. In APAC, we don't even reach a quarter. And in Latin America, it is half as well, but the entire value is a lot lower. We're only looking around 1 billion in disposable vapes in Latin America, whereas in North America, it's over 6 billion. So the reason that we bring this up is because we have this looming ban, right? So what's going to happen with this 6 billion in North America, this 3 billion in Europe, Middle East, and Africa? It's not just going to disappear, right? It's going to be shifting into new product categories. So we're trying to identify where's this going, what's the next move, because this is not going to be a forever thing. We can't expect disposables to continue growing exponentially because we have these looming bans. And so in Europe, we've identified this kind of early trend of really stalling or even decreasing. And what you guys see here are the UK, Germany, and France. And we're looking at the total number of disposable products on the top online retailers in these countries. So we have this huge boom in 2023 in nearly all the countries. Disposables, the number of disposables available in the market skyrocketed. But if you guys look at the overarching trend throughout 2023, in every country, it's stagnant or even decreasing in the case of France. Italy as well, decreasing, Poland as well. So this is a trend that we not only see in these three countries, but across Europe. And so the flip side of that is we look at pre-filled pods. Albeit they are drastically lower in the total number of products available, we have this growth. So we look here at Germany, for example, nearly double the amount of pre-filled pods in the market in Q4 2023 compared to Q3 2023. So just in 3 months span, the amount of products available in the market on the online space doubled. The same for France, and the UK. It's been quite steady, but it's consumers are going to have no choice but to kind of switch into other simple devices like pre-filled pods. If we highlight Elf Bar specifically, so Elf Bar is one of the leading disposables in most of these markets, and an interesting thing is not only is the pre-filled pod space growing, but we're seeing shifts from these companies. So the companies are recognizing that this isn't a forever thing, right? We can't continue to rely on disposables, especially if they make a huge percentage of our sales, and so they're switching. And we see here, for example, the amount of Elf Bar pre-filled pods First of all, the Elf Bar pre-filled pods really kind of started taking off in Q3. They launched a lot of their pre-filled pods in Q3. So for example, in Italy and in the UK, it really took off. And again, this is a trend that we not only see in these 4 markets, but we see this trend across Poland, across Italy, across all of the European markets. North America is a little bit different. We don't really see pre-filled pods at the moment. But I kind of want to talk about the why. So we spend a lot of time trying to identify what drives consumer behavior and what's making consumers switch. And disposables are, why do people use disposables? Well, they're easy to use, they're easy to obtain, they're everywhere, and it's just a simpler experience, right? So the pre-filled pods offer that same kind of simple experience, and for the moment, they're not going to be banned right now. So it makes sense that a lot of consumers are switching into a simple and easy to use product compared to maybe an open system where you're having to mix your own e-liquids, or there's a lot more involved in that kind of vaping experience. The next thing I want to look at is specifically in Germany, because Germany, we had a really interesting thing happen in 2022. They announced the tax rate on e-liquids. And what happened the reason that this is important is because although they announced it in 2022, it essentially came into effect. All products on the market had to be now taxed in Q1 of 2023. And I don't have the chart up, but if you look at the price of e-liquids in Germany, massive increase in the price of e-liquids because of this tax, right? So the companies are passing it on to the consumer. The retail price for e-liquids just skyrocketed, 40%, sometimes 60% for different types of e-liquids. And the reason I point this out is because we have this gradual trend of increasing nicotine strength in e-liquids in Germany. And you might look and say, okay, look, we're just having a continued growth. But the Q1 2024, I point this out because that growth is abnormal. It doesn't follow the same pattern. And if you look at the standard deviation of the growth, that is abnormal. It's a statistically significant increase in the nicotine strength, right? And so the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm looking at this is, okay, maybe the taxes are driving this. If I'm a vapor and I want to have my same nicotine hit, why am I going to be smoking the same or vaping the same amount of e-liquid? It's going to cost me more, right? So I'm going to switch to higher nicotine, higher concentration products to get a better bang for my buck, right? That makes sense. And so this is really the first time we kind of have this natural experiment in a rather large market. And the prediction for other countries is, hey, if you're going to be implementing a tax to maybe try to reduce consumption, there are alternative consequences, right? Every regulatory law has unintended consequences, and this right here is a great example of, okay, well, the consumers, they're not going to be necessarily consuming less vape, they're just going to switch to higher nicotine concentrations. So I like to point that out because that was kind of a find that we had in the last few months. And like I said, we don't really have this across other markets because we haven't had like a perfect natural experiment of a huge increase in prices overnight. But this is something I think that regular people who make regulations should look at this and consider that when they are making their regulations. So now I'll switch to heated tobacco. And the first thing I want to point out is for the flavor ban on heated tobacco products. And we see that there's a massive awareness, right? The heated tobacco users are aware of these herbal sticks. And have you ever bought them? We have mixed results here. Czech Republic, 16%. Hungary was the highest, around 47% of the users said they had bought herbal sticks before. But the current regular usage, this is where we see a really big disparity. So we have, in Hungary, for example, 79% of the consumers are aware of it, but only 6% were currently using. And the reason we point this out is because these products existed before the flavor ban. They existed in smaller companies. And what we saw was that when large tobacco companies started developing their own heated herbal products, heated herbal sticks, the people are now going to start using those, right? So beforehand, with the smaller companies, no one was really using it, even though they knew about it. After the flavor ban, people again are going to start using some of their favorite brands' heated herbal sticks. And we look at who's going to be affected by the flavor ban that was passed. Again, this survey was done before the flavor ban came into effect. But we look at, for example, the dark green is the people who are going to have no impact. The orange's color is fewer sticks per day, and the light blue is I will stop using heated tobacco altogether. So we see the simplest comparison between male and female. We see a disparity here that females are more likely to be affected by the flavor ban that was coming into effect. So we had 21% saying they were going to use fewer sticks, and we had 10% saying they were just going to stop using heated tobacco altogether. Across age groups, we also see where older consumers, not so much to be impacted, and it's much more going to be on the 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 ranges that are going to feel the impact of this flavor ban. Across the most used brand by the consumers between IQOS and Glow, not a huge disparity. And I do want to point out here that by other nicotine products, so the people who are only using heated tobacco products, of course, they are the most affected, right? We're looking at 38% are going to either reduce their consumption or stop using altogether. People who, for example, are only vaping, who are using heated tobacco and vape only, not going to be too much of an impact because they also have the vapes to use as well. And so the message of this slide is that we can see that the heated flavored tobacco ban affects different consumer groups differently. There's different reactions to the flavor ban based on the consumer profile. This survey, again, was done before the flavor ban, and we would like to say that now the flavor ban is into effect, and we have some big tobacco companies getting into the market of heated herbal products. It's most likely that some of these consumers are probably just going to be using their favorite brand's heated herbal stick now that we have some really big players in the market. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt on how the consumers are going to react. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you all for tuning in to our presentation this morning. And you can find my email here as well as Lorenzo's if you guys have any questions. You can also reach out Twitter and LinkedIn and visit our websites, ecigintelligence.com or tobaccointelligence.com as well. So thank you guys very much, and I hope you guys have a great fair.
Thank you.